Hi, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of the hosts this evening, Michael, joined by the lovely and esteemed other guest. Sure, Sage.
I mean, I was like, wow, lovely and esteemed. And then you're like, this is a guest now, bitch. You've been demoted.
Yeah.
That's why I got the praise at the beginning.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it seem nicer. You give the compliment before you sucker punch them.
You're letting someone down easy.
Yeah, well, you and Kat are the personality, and I do all the work.
Yeah, I feel like there's a fair trade-off.
Anyway,
Michael is finally watching Breaking Bad, and I could not be happier.
It's true. I am currently, as of right now, I am on season 4, episode 12.
No, you just watched 12.
Did I?
Yeah.
I thought I just started 12.
No, I think you just watched 12.
There's 13 episodes in a season, right? Until
no,
season 5?
I think
because it said 2 episodes to go.
Oh, I thought season 4 also had 16 episodes.
No, season 5 is the only one.
Oh, okay, then yes, maybe you just started 12.
Yeah, I just started 12. Literally, Sage came over and I was watching the last minute of episode 11.
Yeah. Crawl space episode.
Yeah. So spoilers for Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen it, hey, I hadn't, and I'd avoided most of the spoilers except for one.
Yeah, but we won't, I guess, unless the one thing you got spoiled on is the ending, we won't be spoiling the ending.
I don't know if it is.
Oh, okay. So Mike's going to say what it is, and then we'll tell you if it's beforehand.
Yeah,
I'll edit
actually,
it in a spoiler warning.
I'll actually put in the time skip one this time. So, hey, me editing, pay attention to this one. So the one thing that I got spoiled on is when the episode came out, again, I don't know what episode it is and when it happens. And then I would forget about it and it would come up on the internet again because it would be like a GIF.
Oh, okay.
And every time I saw it, I was like, pay no attention. Forget that you saw that existed because one day you're going to watch this and you don't want to know whatever this is.
Right.
Didn't work. Anyway, so it's when there's some kind of explosion of some kind and then Gus has like fucking half a face and he like
okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I assume that's a big enough spoiler. Do I need to put this time skip?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Anyway, hi, welcome back. If you skipped. But yeah, so that's the one thing that I have seen and tried my darndest to forget about, but it never worked.
Do you want me to say anything about that or just leave it?
Get there.
Okay.
I'll get there. I was going to ask what season, but I actually don't want to know. I'll get there.
Oh, okay. Because that's what I would tell you.
Yeah, no.
But if you don't want to know, then yeah, just leave it.
If I had to guess, it would be this season. It'd be the ending episode if I had to guess.
That's a good guess.
But because it all seems like it's coming to a head.
Right.
But anyway, so spoilers for Breaking Bad up to season 4, episode 11.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you haven't watched it, you were like me and just never got fucking around to it, then you're like, one day I'll get there. As just like a base point, it's worth it. The only thing that I would say is that season 2, which apparently is the norm for basically everyone that I've talked to about it, does drag.
Yeah, I've heard this a lot, actually, that people think season 2... I think the reason why people don't like season 2 quite as much as everything else is because it has more, somebody called it like more like case of the week.
It just feels like it meanders compared to season 1.
Whereas season 1, when, season 1, you have the pilot, right? And it just is immediately dropping you into this world.
Right.
You have that cold open in the RV and then title sequence. And then it's like the flashback of earlier in the day or however far back they go. Right. And then you meet your core characters essentially. And then how Walt ends up in that situation.
Right.
And that's the pilot, which is like a pretty, in my opinion, I think it's a really good pilot. I think it works well to introduce the world we're going to be in.
Yeah.
The characters in like their most base level.
Mm-hmm.
And it all feels like, I think what the pilot does really well is it feels like it doesn't feel like these are things that just started.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like we're picking up in somebody's life story.
Yeah, absolutely. It totally just feels like these people weren't just created. It's like you were spinning the globe and then just zoomed in on this man.
They live and exist in this world unrelated to what we've seen prior, right? So, and then season 1, where it's carrying you through like, okay, we have to kill this guy that's in your basement.
Mm-hmm.
And then like dismember this other guy. And also we want to cook meth in your RV, and there's problems with that, but I also have to do chemo, you know? So I think season 1 feels pretty fast paced. Also, season 1 is only 8 episodes because of the writer's strike.
From what I heard, it was also going to end with 1 season originally. Like, not because of the writer's strike, they changed it, but like I believe like it was going to in the original idea for it was going to be a
1-season show.
Yeah, where he Walt just dies of cancer at the end.
Wow.
Apparently.
Actually, I heard that the end of season 1 was supposed to be that Jesse dies.
I also.
But could you imagine?
I think I from what I heard, I think it was like that was early script. Late script was that he was going to die, but then the writer's strike happened, and then he was like, "Yeah, but Aaron Paul's a really good actor."
Oh my God, Aaron Paul. Because I think before I had seen him in this, I saw him in Westworld. And I already knew he was a good actor, but I had never seen anything where he was
He's
being
in
like...
Westworld?
Yeah.
Oh.
In, I think, season 3, he gets introduced. He's not in the beginning. But yeah, so I had only seen him in something serious in Westworld, right? And, I mean, he just knocks it out of the park. I think he's a phenomenal actor. So then seeing him be this kind of very different character in Breaking Bad,
right,
was funny because him in Westworld, he's this like essentially traumatized dad. Whereas in Breaking Bad, he's just this piece of shit like 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Who thinks he's hot shit.
He grows into the traumatized dad.
Yeah, he definitely grows into being traumatized. But
because boy, does Jesse just go through the ringer in this show.
Oh my God. When I was watching this, I was like, I feel like this poor kid is just a punching bag. Like,
Walt needs to feel superior to somebody.
I guess so. And like, oh my God, there's just moments in this show you haven't gotten to yet, but there are gonna be times in season 5 you're gonna be like, just stop. Just stop.
There were multiple times in the show already where that happens.
I know, but like
Hank just fucking decking the shit out of him.
When Hank is just beating the shit out of him, I was like, oh. And then he has that monologue in the hospital bed to Walt being like, you don't care about me. You're only here because you're trying to protect your own profits. Like, I don't mean anything to you. I understand that, but you need to stop pretending like I'm anything more than that in your head.
Yeah.
And like trying to trick me.
And he's like, I get it. I'm the villain.
Like, oh my God. He's just such a good actor. Like, this show is so well made where like it feels, and I don't know how to say this correctly, in that like it feels so real, but that doesn't feel like that's describing it correctly. But
right.
like these characters just feel like they could be real people. Everything that they do feels like something somebody would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, nothing feels contrived. It doesn't seem like, oh, that was just an ass pull. You know, like, oh, convenient throwaway, whatever.
Right.
Like, everything that happens, any action a character takes, there's consequences to it. Nothing gets dropped. I think that's what I appreciate the most.
Yeah.
Nothing is just like, oh, they did this, and then nothing happened. Because, you know, like, sometimes in action movies, they're just out here on the streets, like, shooting up everybody.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we saved the day.
Yeah.
No fallout.
Mm-hmm. There's fallout to literally every
this
single
show is just,
fucking thing.
If they had to rename this show, it would just be the consequences of your actions.
Yeah. It's, but like as just a general, like, I think it's great. I just think that season 2 drags just because it feels like it meanders versus season 1, like just everything is, you know, going. And then season 3, it picks back up again. It just like, it feels like nothing of consequence really matters in season 2. It does.
Right.
There are things at play, but like it just feels like it meanders in its what it's doing, and is written way less interestingly. But
Does Jane die in season 2 or season 3?
in season 2,
That's what I thought.
that is the end of season 2.
Right.
But I was gonna say, I love Kristen Ritter, so
Yeah.
she made that season for me because she's great.
She is great. I really
her as Jane, great,
Jane is such an interesting character.
and Jesse's a piece of shit.
Like, oh my god, their dynamic together. Because at first when like they're first getting together and he does try to be clean, like to be with her, I'm like, this is so sweet.
Yeah.
This is so wholesome. Like, I really like was wanting them to just get away from this life of crime type deal, you know what I mean? And then when you have like when they're like introducing like heroin into their relationship type deal, I was like, it's so bad.
The moment when he was like, I need you to leave because I'm gonna go smoke up,
Yeah.
and then she goes to leave and then turns around and goes to his room.
Oh my god.
I was so mad, not because of Jane, but because Jesse then would let her do it. I was like, because love Jesse. Jesse's an awful person. Jesse, it brings down basically every single person around him.
I mean, if you like, I feel like Jesse, he's such a good portrayal of an addict, though.
Yeah.
Because
his friends were clean for a hot minute.
yeah,
He took them to the thing, they were clean.
When Skinny Pete and Badger were getting clean, and they were like, no, like, I'm loving my life right now. Like, this is awesome. And I think he gets them to
He gets Badger to do it first.
relapse is when he starts like really going through it.
Yep. It's
And
when they're trying to sell drugs to the
yeah,
fucking
like
Drugs
it's just
Anonymous people.
like it's the way they just present this like really terrible cycle that can happen to addicts. It just makes so much sense, and Jesse makes so many bad choices, but because he is an addict, like he can't quantify things in that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
But like he has the moments where he can, and you're like, you know, you can do this, and
right,
and you know, like, and that he tries prior that if it, and it's good, because it's great writing because that's the point. But like that, it feels like he just doesn't care that he's ruining them. He's like,
Right.
no, you gotta do this with me, and it's like. And it especially feels horrible for Jane because she was clean for so long, and then he just
because she was what, like 18 months?
I think something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Walter, the douchebag that he is, because he's the real villain of the story. Motherfucker walks in on the room, or breaks in. I don't remember if he breaks in. Then
He does break in.
Yeah, and
Because the door is locked.
Yeah.
So he
and
breaks in through his back door.
Sees her. He accidentally knocks her on her back, and then
right.
she starts fucking throwing up and choking on her throw up, and he just goes, "Well," and
Can't
leaves.
do much about. Well, I feel
Because
like
he goes to help her for 1 second.
right, like that scene is so interesting because like prior to then, I feel like we don't really see Walt being that outwardly villainous, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's just slowly getting
Like
questionable.
Right. There's things where you're like, well, this is a slippery slope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when he's right there and he could save Jane's life and he chooses not to, and like you can almost see like the gears moving in his head of like, I could save her life, but she's been a fucking pain in my ass.
He is the Batman paradox where it's like, I can't kill anybody, and it's like, you could just kill the Joker though. And then it's like, but if you kill one person, it's easier to justify killing another.
It becomes a very
And
slippery slope.
You just watch Walt let this one person die, and then he goes and fucking just starts kind of murdering people.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, prior to that, he did kill Crazy
yeah.
8.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that I felt like,
He still almost felt like a normal person then.
yes,
Almost.
In killing Crazy 8, you could feel that he really didn't want to, right? Like that's why he was feeding him, trying to like stall essentially. But then,
Because he was like, he should have just died in the gas.
yeah, like I think after, because
Let's be real, that guy, Crazy Eight, was not gonna have a good life after if
No.
he got out anyway.
but because like the first, I guess, attempt, if you will, in the RV, that was more like an act of desperation.
Yeah,
Because it's like kill or be killed.
yeah,
But then when he has him chained up in the basement, he's like, I could just let him go, but then I'm fucked.
yeah,
But then if I kill him, I'm fucked in a different way.
yeah.
Like that's what I love about this show. It's so interesting. But yeah, so when he goes and he just lets Jane die, and then poor Jesse feeling like it's his fault, and just
It kind of is.
but you know what I'm saying? Like he just is so ruined
It's absolutely
by it.
100%, 99% Walt's fault.
Yeah.
But there is a percentage of blame because Jesse got her hooked again.
But didn't she introduce the heroin to him?
Yes,
I know he.
but she was gonna do it regardless.
Well, I know he reintroduced her to drugs
Yeah.
in general.
She got him into
But
heroin.
because her drug of choice was heroin.
Yeah,
So like,
he made her relapse though.
oh for sure.
If that never happened, well, we don't know that for a fact. She could have relapsed herself, but
Right.
he was the one that put them in the position to get into the fact that Walt could let her die.
Yeah.
It's still 99% Walt's fault.
I just like that scene, and he's just standing over them, and because he went to take the meth, right, to give it to Gus. Is that why did he?
No. They already had the money. They extorted him for the money.
Right.
Well, I guess technically he was going to give it to Jesse, but
Right.
he was an addict. And so he broke in prior to that.
No, he broke.
No. He broke in prior to get the meth. And then he left, and then they wanted the money because that's when she dies, is after the money extortion. Because he had to break in for the meth.
Right.
So the door was already broken into.
Oh, okay.
He goes to Jesse because he meets Jane's dad, and Jane's dad's like, you can't give up on family.
Right.
And so he goes to Jesse's place to be like, you gotta fix this.
Right.
But then sees them both high as fuck, passed out.
Right.
Sees Jane roll over and start dying. Goes to help her and realizes if let her die, he'll stop being an addict.
Right. And she'll stop getting on my fucking ass and threatening to like call the cops on me and tell them I'm making meth.
Yeah. And then he relapses anyway later. But you know.
Yeah. But all of that is the show is just. I also love the way this show is shot. You know how I'm sure you've seen those memes of like how things are shot of like, oh, Mexico is like in this constant like
Orange haze.
yellow orange like filter.
Yeah.
Versus like everywhere else is like slightly blue kind of thing or like
Yeah.
more normal. The show is shot really well.
Yeah. All other countries besides America live in sepia tone. Don't you know that?
Yeah. If you cross the border,
Sepia
tone.
Yeah.
It's just factual.
It is. You know, like that's just a fact. If you haven't been across the border, you just don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, I really like the way this show is shot. What are your I want to know your thoughts on Skylar.
Oh, I fucking hate her. I think she's really annoying.
Okay, can I ask you why?
She's a
you
very
hate
real
her?
person though.
Can I ask you why you hate her?
She's a very real person dealing with things in a fairly real way.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. And partially me being annoyed with her is the fact that she is very real and that like it's just annoying when you're just watching this show about this dude being a drug addict and
And
then
it
she's
feels like too real?
yeah, and then she's just being like I don't know, like because it just weirdly comes off whiny. But it's justified. Like, I get it. I 100% get that all of the things and criticisms and everything that she brings up to Walt are 100% justified. But it it comes off as whiny.
Yeah.
Even though I'm watching it being like, yeah, I'd probably be just as mad, just as annoyed, whatever. He's not telling me things, whatever. And then it's like, the second phone, Walt. The second phone! And I'm like, shut up. Go away. Like,
You know what it is? I think a large, in my opinion, like Skylar, especially in season 1, right? I feel like whenever we see her, because she's still in the dark in season 1 about this whole meth operation. And like whenever she's complaining about stuff like, oh, my sister's a kleptomaniac or my husband has cancer or whatever, like don't like, in comparison to Walt, who's dealing with like dangerous people and like trying to dismember a body, like it's such an interesting juxtaposition of like, yeah, these would be like actual problems and things that are very reasonable to be upset about.
Right.
But in comparison, doesn't it just feel like such like inconsequential problems?
yeah, it's also like the fact that she's like, there's the points where she's like basically forcing him to go to chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And like has the intervention and everything, and he's like, I just don't want to. Just let me die.
Yeah.
It comes off as like I get that she is doing it because she doesn't want to lose him and whatnot, but like,
because she becomes a single mom of 2 kids,
right? But it just comes off in the way that it happens in the show, to me at least. Like it comes off like almost insensitive in a way.
The way I view Skylar is, I think Skylar has really good intentions, but I think she doesn't know how to like bring things up or like discuss like sensitive issues with like tact.
Right.
She's like a bulldozer, you know?
Yeah.
Which I guess
Which, boy, when she starts getting taken down into the world, she really starts fucking everything up.
Yeah, like I feel like she's
Hey,
the kind
Ted,
of
here's
person.
half our money.
She's the kind of person who who's that very much like know-it-all kind of vibe, where like her word is law. That's the kind of vibe she gives off.
Well, she also like Walt starts doing the whatever, like, or no, I think it might be before, when they go to the party for the rich friends for Gray Matter.
That's in episode 1, right?
Is it in episode 1?
It might be episode 1 or 2, but I know what you're talking about.
and like
Elliot.
he's like, hey, I'll give you a job or whatever, and he's like, and she brought it up to him to pay for the stuff, and it's like, who just does that?
Yeah.
Who goes behind the back to be like, hey, a rich friend, please pay for this? Also, apparently, the rich friend that screwed him out of the business.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're like friendly, but then once it gets like more into it and
well, actually, so Walt decided to leave the business.
Oh, so when he because when he has that moment at the table with the wife,
so
he's like, fuck you know.
Well, here's the thing. So Walt, when I don't know if you've gotten to this flashback yet, and I don't know if you want me to tell you, but I'm sure you've seen like flashbacks of like Skylar and Walt younger, right? Already?
Yeah, when they were buying the house and stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So when they're buying the house, like, I think that's when, right around that time before the son Walt Jr. is born, that's when he decides to leave the business to like have a more regular life. And or either that, or I think they bought him out and they gave him like $5,000.
Yeah, because he has that whole speech that he's like, you guys screwed me over.
Yeah.
So I assume, I don't know.
I can't remember. Look it up because I can't remember now. But what's so interesting, and Mark actually said this when we were watching it. He was like, I think he was like, this woman wants to live in this house, right? Like this fairly nice house with a pool, but she doesn't work. Her husband works 2 jobs that are, I'm sorry to say it, but fairly low paying, even though I think teachers should be millionaires.
Right.
And she doesn't want to work, but she's also complaining about their bills. And what would become their medical expenses if Walt started doing chemotherapy, because that is extremely expensive. And like that was a whole thing with Walt being like, I don't want to burden you with hundreds of thousands of dollars of chemotherapy bills if I could potentially just die anyway. And then you have all these bills and then 2 kids to look after and this house. You know what I mean?
Okay. So I looked it up. So he was he fell in love with Gretchen, which we knew. And then
imagine how good his life would have been.
he feels inferior to her and her family's wealth, so ultimately decides to break it off. In this episode, which I feel like I don't remember, but it was in season 2. So, okay. So he decides to break it off while they're on vacation. And then after leaving, Walt sold his shares of the company to Elliot for $5,000.
Right.
Which he claimed was a significant amount of money for him at the time. He justified his reasons as leaving only as personal. Then Gretchen goes on to marry Elliot, and it becomes a multi-billion-dollar company, which he then becomes bitter about, blaming them for stealing his work, and about blaming him for the financial problems he has in his life, completely ignoring the fact that he chose to leave the company on his own, even though he would never admit it.
Yeah.
So it is Walt's fault.
Yeah.
Entirely.
Yeah.
Walt just continuously screws himself over.
He does, but also like I think the reason why he
because he's the inferiority complex.
He does, and also I think why he chose to leave and get the $5,000, if I remember correctly, was to help pay for the house that they bought.
Well, was it? Because I mean, it just says that after he breaks up with her, he then sells the money. I thought he would have met Skylar after the fact.
No, I think he broke up with her, and I think him and Skylar like met fairly recently afterwards. Because if you think about it, what's his face? Oh no, he's 16 and Walt is 50.
Something like that. No, I thought they met way after the fact. Because they're having a kid and Walt's like 50.
True, but she has Walt Jr., or at least she's pregnant before they got married.
Yeah. Were they buying the house before they're married?
That's what I'm saying. I think maybe she was pregnant already and they were buying the house.
Yeah, but I think he already sold the company at that point.
Oh, you think he already sold out his shares?
Probably, yeah. Because he sold. It says that he sold it after breaking up with her.
Right.
Either way,
right.
Walt's just his own worst enemy because he has an inferiority complex. He was dating this rich, hot girl.
Yeah.
That stayed hot up to the present day, and was like, "She's rich. I can't have someone better than me. I got to go find someone worse than me."
Well, it's not even somebody worse than me. It's that Walt, he in his mindset, he gives himself these like super strict boundaries of how he thinks the man of the relationship should be. So he thinks he needs to be the main breadwinner, and he thinks he needs to be able to provide everything.
He thinks so highly of himself.
Yeah, on top of that.
Yeah.
But he has certain expectations for himself, thinking because the whole reason why he even starts selling meth is because he wants to be able to pay for his chemo treatments, obviously. Mm-hmm. But then he also says to Jesse he needs like $731,000 or whatever the amount was.
To pay for a mortgage, pay for the kids.
Yeah, so pay off the mortgage, pay for the kids' well-being, pay for their college. You know what I mean? Like, he feels like he should be providing all those things for his family.
Yeah.
Which is why he embroils himself in this whole mess anyway. Mm-hmm. And a part of it is, yes, he wants to do those things for the betterment of his family, but once he starts getting the money, he truly doesn't know how to stop. Yeah,
because now he feels like a big boy.
He feels like a big boy, and he feels like, oh well, if I just keep going a little bit longer, I can get even more money, right? Like, no matter what,
even when he gets random outs throughout, and he's like, nope,
yeah,
I need more money though.
Yeah,
I need to prove I'm better, because it comes through especially in his cook, because he's like, nobody can be as good as me. You can't get rid of me. I'm the most important thing on the planet.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, dude, you're just a fucking loser.
I mean, like,
That
when
just makes a perfect meth.
like when Jesse tries to cook without Walt, and Walt is like, what is this? And Jesse's like, oh, I cooked. And he's like, this is not even close to like what I can do. And Jesse's like, yeah, but it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
And Walt's like, no, and he throws it out. You know?
Yeah, and yet it was actually pretty close.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's my formula, mine. Like, and
yeah.
then,
This is my proprietary formula.
Yeah, and then when Jesse goes to Mexico and gets a 96% on the like purity,
Yeah.
which Walt's is what 98, 99.
I think it's 98.
Yeah, and then Jesse gets 96, and he proves to himself that like he can do it.
Yeah.
And Walt's just a fucking loser.
And what was Gail's? 92%?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But Gail's a bitch. Poor Gail.
Poor Gail.
Poor Gail. He didn't even know what he was dying for.
Gail, I feel like Gail is like, yes, he was part of this like meth making business, but like he just seemed like
He
he
had
was
somewhat good intentions behind it.
he
though.
just seemed like he was in it for the science of it. Like,
Well, yeah,
to
'cause
have
he
this
was-
big
he-
ass lab.
He said that he was doing in college. He was doing it through the right channels of trying to make like good versions of drugs, and
Right.
they shut him down because they were
Right.
like, "Why the fuck would you do that?"
Right.
So he's like, "So it's better if I make it. That way I know it's safe and it's the best product." So
yeah,
everyone's
so
gonna
I
want
know
it
it's not
anyway.
tainted with something else. Yeah, I just
He
feel
makes
like
a mean coffee.
he does make. I want to try his like fancy schmancy ridiculous ass coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know that it would be better than a regular coffee, but
Probably.
it looked good.
It probably would be better.
And like when they're developing that friendship, Walt and Gail, I was like, see, you could have a nice friend, someone you could relate to in your very weird 9-to-5 job.
Yep. And then he's like, "Fuck Gail."
Yeah.
And then just like has the meltdown about it, and then gets
Yeah.
Gail fired. Then brings Jesse in, and then Gail comes back, and then he's like, "So, could you replace Walter?" And Gail's like, probably,
Yeah.
I guess, if I have to."
Yeah.
And then
Because Gus realizes that Walt is getting entirely too big for his pants.
yeah, Walt is his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
If he was just chilling with fucking Gail, he probably would have been okay.
He would have
Maybe.
he would have made his cool $3 million, and it wouldn't have been a problem.
Possibly. Gus might have closed up the loose end regardless.
I mean, yes, but you know what I mean, like, or Gus would have just fired him.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Gus would still have paid him whatever he was due to that amount of time he was with him, but he would have been like, yeah, you're too much. You gotta go.
Yeah. I probably would have go with that. Gus was probably going to kill him regardless. But I could also see him just being like, you get the fuck out of here. And if you ever fucking come back, then you're dead.
Yeah.
So who knows? But then you have the whole thing with fucking Schrader and Marie, who I have no idea how the fuck these people even met, let alone got married.
Hank and Marie.
Yeah. Like,
I really like their relationship, actually.
he's an asshole. She's an asshole. Like, both of them go back and forth. Like she's a weird kleptomaniac that's making up stories to go visit houses and steal stuff or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, and then he, like, knows about it, but, like, not doing anything about it. And then, like, then when he gets shot, he's super fucking bitter and an asshole. And which is somewhat justifiable, but then he's just a real asshole, like for this woman that's doing everything she can to help him get through it.
Yeah.
And then he's like just like on this one man mission to be like, it's Gus. He's the thing I need to take down. While everybody else is like, dude, you're wrong though. And he has like, he's right. But, like, the justifications feel so thin. And this man's like, but I'm doing it anyway.
But that's the whole thing. Like, I feel like with Hank and Marie and their relationship, like, the way, like, her being a kleptomaniac, And him just like kind of sweeping it under the rug type deal, and like helping her to like get off on charges or whatever. Like that feels so real. Of like, I work with the police and my wife's a kleptomaniac. Let me not like, I'm not gonna throw her in jail, obviously.
Right.
And then he does try to get her help by like getting her a therapist. She just chooses not to go.
Yeah.
And then when he gets shot and he's bedridden and can't walk, for him, like that's the worst case scenario, because he wants to feel like he's the big man, like he's
because he can't have PTSD from
right. You know what I mean, from his time in El Paso, but you know what I mean. Like he has such a hard time. Like everything he does is essentially a facade.
Yeah.
And his like, oh, we're gonna catch the bad guy's attitude, and like the way he acts at work and stuff like that. Like it's all just a facade for like his own like crumbling sense of self and like what makes him a man type deal.
Yeah.
So I feel like when he is exploding, and then like you have the whole scene, like that scene where he's in the shower and Maria's trying to be like talk to him like genuinely, and he truly does not know how to be open with anybody.
Right.
And he's like yelling at her, and she just walks out and is like just this shot of him alone while he's still yelling. Like that just feels so real.
Right.
You know?
Which is funny then when he goes to Walton's, like, you can talk to me. And it's like,
it's again a facade.
Yeah.
Like, and then I just think there are times where Hank and Marie, they have a lot of very small moments together where like I feel like they truly understand each other. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like when Hank thinks that Walt could be cheating on the mom, Skylar, thank you. He's like, oh, maybe he's cheating on her. And Marie's like, no, if it was that, like, I would already know. There's no way. And they're having that kind of like gossip talk with each other. Like, I feel like they just know each other so well.
Right.
You know? And like other little things where I'm like their house, right? Everything is decorated purple because she's psychotic.
Uh-huh. Sure is.
But he, like, you never hear him comment being like, oh, I'm sick of like all this purple shit.
Right.
He's just like, you do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable in your own house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's got his garage. Where
He's
he
got
makes
his
beer.
yeah, like you know what I mean? And
shitty beer apparently.
But you know what I mean? Like they have their own things that make them happy and they don't comment on it.
Right.
They let themselves be themselves. At least in Hank's as much as he can with any other human.
Right.
I like their relationship. I think they're a better couple than Skylar and
Oh, absolutely.
and Walt.
I feel like they were always having problems.
Skylar and Walt?
I feel like that was always something. That was some kind of problem. And then, and then especially Walt does deserve it because of the shit we know is going on. But especially when she starts fucking sleeping with Ted just to be like, just to get at him.
She's just doing it to twist the knife.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and you're just like, God, like, okay.
Like, I hate to say this in that, like, while obviously that's terrible to do, from a woman's perspective, if that's the only weapon you have, you know what I mean?
Right. Could always leave him.
She was trying to.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working out.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, so I think when she decides to start sleeping with Ted, she's not really doing this.
But there was that moment where the lawyer was like, you could leave the house. You know?
To Walt.
Yeah, no, to her.
Yeah.
She was like, you could just take the kids and leave, like whatever. Like it's not like.
I think for both of them, they're both so hard-headed and prideful.
Yeah, she was like, I'm not giving him the house, and it's like, well,
yeah,
he has the money to pay for it.
Yeah, but I think for both of them, like I think the house is like them standing their ground type deal, you know?
Yeah, there's a whole lot with Skylar where I'm like, I get it, but also like you just come off.
Oh,
awful.
and she's definitely meant to come off that way.
Yeah, and like Walt also just actively brings everybody down.
Yeah.
Like
Walt
especially
is the maker of all of his problems.
Yeah, especially
minus the cancer. That wasn't his fault.
Yeah. Especially once he starts especially when he starts bringing her in and she just starts like slowly messing everything up.
Yeah.
She does have points where like she does do really good things. Like the car wash was a good idea.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But like when she goes to Ted and gives him the money, it's more than half of their money.
It's like all of their money.
Yeah. And you're just like, what the hell? Like, and I get it for the IRS thing, but then she like extorts the motherfucker. And like, shout out to Bill Burr, by the way.
Her giving Ted the money is a part of it. Is like, yeah, she's like, oh, if he gets investigated, then I'm gonna get investigated because I'm his bookkeeper. Right. And it's like, okay, I get it from that aspect, but you don't need to give him $600,000. Like, you already know this man is irresponsible as fuck. Like, what are you doing? And also the scene where they're having like that guy come to like check their books, and she comes like all like dressed up in like the low cut little dress and like the big chunky jewelry. I felt like, I was like, that's actually genius. Like, that's so smart. It makes complete sense why she would go that route.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was so funny. I was like Skylar isn't stupid.
Yeah. No, she isn't. But, but then she makes the calls, like giving him the money, and then he immediately tries to restart the company. He's like, fuck the IRS, whatever.
No, he goes and buys himself a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like,
and goes to start the company again. And she's like, with what money? And he's like, this isn't your choice. It's my money anyway. And it's like, oh, so cool. You're like an asshole.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, we feel bad to do this with gambling money. And you're like, are you fucking serious, dude?
Yeah.
Like, you've been cooking your books for fucking years.
For like 20 years, bro.
Ugh. And it's so... But, like, also, I find it weird that it's so much of their money, because I would have thought that it would have been way more than that. Like, that they would have had way more than that by now. Because he's making, like, $7 million a year.
Well, it's only been a year.
Well,
it's
yeah,
not
but
even
like
been a full year.
$7 million a year is...
No, you're wrong.
It's $7.3 million a year.
The first season...
No. When he brings the money to Skylar to put in the safe at the car wash, he's like, "Here's $200,000 or whatever the fuck it is."
Right.
And she's like, does the math, and she's like, "You're making $7.3 million a year or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, well, 7.4 before expenses."
So, no. Okay, so
he's making that much money in that time frame. So he's making almost $1 million a month. Not actually, obviously, because there's 3 more months, but I don't feel like doing the math.
I understand what you're saying.
Like,
he's making like $750,000 a month.
Right. So it's at least been more than a month.
No. So what I'm trying to say is, one, he wasn't making that much money that whole time.
But it's been more than a month, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been more than a month. But he kept, because before that happens and he's like dropping off the money more consistently, he keeps having all these setbacks, especially like with Jesse, and he's having to pay all these other people for other things. And like, they spent a pretty penny on the car wash.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I did forget about that. That was $800,000.
Yeah, so he's not just collecting the money. He still is actively spending the money. He buys Walt Jr. that stupid car. He buys himself a car. Skylar buys a car.
Did she?
Yeah.
I thought she still has her piece of shit.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
She
I
will.
guess that happened. Okay.
It's not really that important, but
Well, yeah, because
so he's
I forgot about the car wash, that they'd spent $800,000, then the car, which he then totaled instead of returning.
Yeah.
And had to pay a bunch of money about that, so it didn't even go into the fucking filing.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So like, he's not just collecting $200,000 every single week or month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's still shelling out a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the money that they launder through the car wash business is not the same money that he has under the house.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the money that he's getting.
I didn't realize they were separates.
I'm pretty sure the money from under the house was already there from previous money exchanges.
Oh, okay.
And I think the stuff that's going into the car wash is strictly Gus payments.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, so
she doesn't.
she's making choices,
Yeah.
of which are choices. And then Ted fucking possibly kills himself. I don't fucking know. I guess his hand was twitching. Maybe he's just paralyzed now. But like, it's you feel bad, but it's also comical. He goes running. He has a random ass small like doorway carpet in the middle of his house that he just runs and trips over and face plants and slams into the fucking counter.
So about that doorway carpet, because I remember, I think it's at the opening of the episode.
Yeah, he trips over it.
We see him trip over the doorway
It's
carpet.
so small. And
It's
not
a
even
runner.
But it's no, because it's not even in the doorway. But it's like a regular door-sized carpet, like doorway carpet.
Oh, I thought it was like a hallway
No.
runner.
It's not. It looks like a regular like rectangle thing that you would have by your doorway, but in the middle of the house for some reason.
Oh, I thought it was a runner carpet, like, you know, for like a hallway.
No, it's small. When he trips over it, it's not big.
But so I remember seeing that scene in the opening of the episode where he trips over it, and I was like, you don't just show me stuff on television for no reason. You know what I mean?
TV doesn't just do this.
Like, but you know what I mean? Like everything they're putting.
Big TV doesn't want me to think about it.
Everything that they put in a show, they're putting there intentionally. They don't just say, "Oh, throw some B-roll in there of him tripping on this carpet."
You don't know. Maybe that was just the take that was used. It wasn't actually important. You know?
No, I cannot imagine. But I remember.
This is what big TV wants you to think.
But I remember seeing that scene of him tripping on the carpet, and I was like, don't tell me something happens with this fucking carpet. And then at the end of the episodes where he trips and slams his head, I was like, are you fucking... Like, I wasn't expecting you to go there.
Right.
But I... like, the setup, didn't even...
He did it to himself.
Like, I actually... Like, the setup of it was hilarious to me. Because you're obviously not expecting that to be the result of that setup.
Right.
So I was just like, wow, they really did set that up. That carpet sucks, didn't they?
And it's there for no reason. It really is. Like, he did it to himself for the fucking aesthetic.
For the aesthetic.
It's like you with your nails that you can't open anything.
I can open things. Just either...
There is video evidence on this podcast of you being like, I can't open this because of my nails.
There are certain things, yes, that are harder to open with nails. That's why you use tools.
The aesthetic for no reason.
Because it looks nice.
Yeah, huh? You and going to get your flash tattoos also?
Yeah, which also just look nice.
Which one are you getting?
I think I'm going to do the Kirby with a knife.
Fair.
Because I think that's funny.
Yeah. I also like the flying frog.
Yeah, the frog on the
I
little,
wouldn't
like...
get any of those on my body,
Right.
but I do like them.
Yeah, the frog on the little witch's broom is really cute.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah.
What do you think of Saul? We haven't.
I
talked
love
much.
Saul.
We haven't talked much about him.
I love Saul.
He's so funny.
I am very excited to, when I finish this, go watch Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I want to watch Better Call Saul as well.
I hear people say it's better than Breaking Bad.
I have also heard that. Which is crazy because I think Breaking Bad is the perfect show. I know I'm not alone in saying this,
Right.
but it's so good. In my opinion, Breaking Bad is the equivalent of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if those two things are equivalent in their perfection, you got Legend of Korra, which is nowhere near as perfect
Right.
as Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Uh-huh.
Like, a part of me is scared and skeptical that Better Call Saul is going to disappoint
But
me.
everybody says it's better.
I know,
Unlike
but, like-
unlike Korra, where
but,
everyone's
like,
like it's not.
to follow up perfection with even more perfection, like that's hard to do.
Breaking Bad has its second season. Avatar has its first.
I guess that's fair. You know what?
Because when you rewatch the first season of Avatar, you're like, oh boy, this is slow.
It's much more kitschy in the first season.
It really is. And then the Breaking Bad has its second season where you're like, oh, God.
I feel like I'm
please.
the only person who feels like season 2 wasn't slow for Breaking Bad.
I don't know if it was
But
slow,
I also
but I
had
was just
no.
like, I was just tired of it existing.
I guess, but I also don't watch like Breaking Bad. I didn't binge watch it.
Yeah.
I intentionally wanted to take my time
Right.
because one, I know there was a lot of kind of dense content to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much long, but dense episodes.
Right.
Where like I'm watching The Handmaid's Tale
Okay.
right now,
Mm-hmm.
and
Is that the one with the people that wear like red and
yeah,
and the white
yeah,
fucking old pioneer hats?
yeah.
I know you kept saying yeah, but I needed to finish what I was saying.
Sorry. But like that show is extremely dense. So I
Right.
can only realistically watch like 1, maybe 2 episodes max in one sitting.
Is that still going?
Supposedly season 6 is supposed to happen.
I thought it's not over.
I don't know.
I didn't realize it had 5 seasons.
Season
Jesus
5
Christ.
I think aired in 2022. So supposedly there's going to be a season 6, but I don't really know. But Handmaid's Tale is just so dense and depressing
Right.
that if you watch any more than like 1 or 2 episodes, you just ruin your own life for no reason.
Right.
So you need a breather.
Did you see the news about the Daredevil show?
No.
No.
On Disney Plus?
Uh-huh.
No, what happened?
They're totally restarting. They fired every writer and the director, and they were like,
no.
yeah. Apparently, it wasn't the best. But who really knows? Because part of what they said is slightly worrying. Because
Part of what Disney said?
yeah, like part of the statement. Was because they were like, it's not as actiony as the Netflix show. Matt wouldn't have gotten into the suit until episode 4. And then people are like, they said it came off as too much of like a courtroom drama. And people and I haven't seen anybody on like, 'cause this is like coming through on Twitter and stuff. And I try not to interact with any fan base anyway, but you see those things. And you
Of
just read the
course.
comments
Of
to see what
course.
people think. And most of the people are like, thank God. And I'm like, you realize that the motherfucker didn't get into the suit in the Netflix series until fucking episode 13. Like, he was just doing lawyer shit. Like, I'm hoping that it's not, that they're not rewriting and redoing it because they're like, he can't be a lawyer for that long. Like, I would absolutely be fine with 4 episodes just being him being a lawyer.
Right.
You know? Like, that is what he is.
Right. That's his day job,
yeah.
so to speak.
Like, I don't need you to, like, the Netflix series wasn't just about action.
Right.
But a lot of some other stuff that's come out is like, yeah, that doesn't sound like it would have been all that interesting because the original premise is that he hangs up his gear because he doesn't save Foggy and Karen.
Okay.
They both die.
Okay.
And so like he just stops being Daredevil for like a year or whatever, and it's like a year after the fact and whatever.
Okay.
And you're like, well, I don't want them dead.
Right.
It's fucking lame as hell. They're good characters. Why would you just kill them off?
Right.
So hopefully, maybe they bring them in for this rewrite. But yeah, they fired everybody. They're redoing it. So they're not. That's on delay for the moment for a while.
Huh.
Good news is they are implementing what they have to implement, with the WGA thing, which is now, and they're also revamping their entire streaming platform so that it's not like one-off shows. They're going to be written like actual seasonal TV.
Oh, okay.
And have a consistent vision and plan written out before it ever even starts.
Oh, good.
So that's good because A, the WGA forced them to do it, which is good.
Right.
And B, maybe for the love of God, they'll have a little more put togetherness since the end game because it just feels like everything's a shotgunning effect.
Right.
Have you watched any of Loki yet?
Season 2?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
I watched the first episode. That was
I finished watching season 1 like 2 weeks before season 2 aired. But I haven't started watching season 2 because I was actually waiting for all the episodes to come out, and then I would just watch it in one go.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do too, probably. But I just wanted to see what the first episode was like. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Breaking Bad before the episode. I just thought.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So I think that like, cause if it so on the count of Saul, I think Saul is a fantastic character. And I can never pronounce his last fucking name. Bob Odenkirk or whatever.
Odenberg?
No, that's not what it is.
Odenkirk?
No, whatever. Doesn't matter. The actor. He does a great job. Saul like is definitely like a sleazy dude, but he comes off
It is Odenkirk.
Odenkirk. You said Berg.
I know, and then I said Kirk afterwards.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, sure. Odenkirk is great.
Yeah,
Love
he's
him.
so good.
But like he comes like he's sleazy, but he comes off as the most well-meaning dude.
He is
He's trying his best.
he is such a perfect embodiment of like
A middleman.
the smarmy, like questionable lawyer where you're like, are you sure you're a lawyer?
Right.
But like he also knows things,
Yeah.
you know, and
When they threaten his life, and he's like, "Don't kill me. Are you with the people?" And he's like, "What? No." And then he's like, "The cough. You're the fucking morons that came in earlier.
Yeah.
You're not gonna kill me."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Give me $1."
give me $1, and then you have attorney-client privileges.
Like he's a fantastic character.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to deal with the fucking morons that decided to make him his lawyer.
Yeah. Because at
Um,
first he was just like, oh, sweet, I can like milk some money out of him. And then he was like, oh my God, I got myself into way deeper shit than I originally thought.
Yeah. It's great.
It's so good.
Best character though, Mike.
Mike Ehrmantraut.
Yeah. Mike is best character. Best boy. He's just a grandpa that loves his granddaughter, and he's just trying his best.
He's just out here being a bodyguard, doing his duties.
He's the best. He's looking out for Jesse.
Yeah.
Like he's great. Love him.
He's so good.
He's looking out for everybody in a way. And
the scene where he's bugging Walt's house though is really
yeah,
you bugged my house.
yeah, absolutely great.
So good.
I love him. He's my favorite character. And if he dies, when he dies, more than likely, I'm gonna be very upset.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very bummed about it.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna happen when he got shot in the gut in Mexico.
Oh, when they were like fleeing, were they leaving
after they
Mexico?
drugged everybody?
Yeah. When he went and like took out the whole cartel.
Yeah.
That scene, iconic.
I love how he just walks to the bathroom, throws up, and like not a minute later, everybody starts dying, and you're like, I feel like if it was that close, you're probably fucked already. I know he like gets sick and then has to get like blood transfusion, but it feels like you'd already be screwed if it was like a minute of difference, right? Like I'm like, I feel like that minute wouldn't change anything.
Maybe he got like the most, like as much as he could out.
Yeah,
Before it really fucked him up.
But yeah, no, I once he was like, "You're gonna drink this," I was like, "There's something in that drink."
I know. I was like, "This feels so suspicious." But then when he took a shot too. I was like, "Oh, okay. No suspiciousness needed. We're fine."
Yeah, that's what Big TV wanted you.
That's
to think.
what Big TV wants me to think.
I was there, like, no, Big TV's lying to me. It's not safe. He's doing a power move.
He's just doing a power move.
Which, by the way, that dude, because it's supposed to be, the past and present, the like cartel leader dude, looked great after all those years.
Oh, right.
He like didn't change at all. Everybody else around him in the flashback scene looks infinitely older.
Maybe
he looks fantastic.
It was the coke keeping him young.
Yeah, right? Like, Jesus Christ.
The meth kept him young, even though it usually ages you.
Do we know what happened with the dude that's in the wheelchair? Like, did he just get some kind of random disease or like...
So I don't know that they ever actually explain it in Breaking Bad, but supposedly we get a lot more backstory with him for Better Call Saul.
Oh, okay. And then the brother, the
The twins.
chicken brother. No, that
Los
gets shot in the
Pollos.
head, yeah.
Oh, Max.
Yeah, they get shot in the head.
Yeah.
Um,
Chicken brother.
that's what they call him.
I know.
It's like you expected it, but also it really does just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because Gus is like, well, you know, we can do this, whatever. Like, I meant no harm, and then he jumps in and he's like, he didn't mean any harm. Like, we can do this, it'll be great. And then just bam, and you're like, well, obviously somebody was gonna die. It can't be Gus, so it had to be him. But Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So you also supposedly get a lot more backstory with them as well in Better Call Saul.
Gotcha. We don't know what he was in Chile
No, we never. I don't think we ever find that out.
because apparently it's a big deal. It's the reason why he didn't get shot by the cartel leader then.
Right.
So
Maybe they say in Better Call Saul, but I don't know.
who knows?
But he was the big dog in Chile.
Possibly.
He was a big Chile dog.
Sorry to all the Chileans that don't watch us. Sage does not speak or represent our brand.
Like a.
So anyway, Breaking Bad is really good.
Yes, it is.
And I assume we'll probably have one more episode about it when I finish.
When you finish, yeah.
I did ask Gaiman if he'd be interested in coming on for that.
That
He
would
said
be
he
fun.
probably would be. So
That would be
we'd have
fun.
to film that one on a Monday though.
Hmm?
We'd have to film it on a Monday though because he works
Oh, okay, that's fine.
till 8 every other day.
That's fine.
So anyway, so yeah, that's this episode, Breaking Bad. You should watch it. Hopefully you didn't just spoil yourself on it for this conversation.
Yeah.
'Cause we jumped around everywhere and
It's fine.
You know.
Anyway. We put spoiler on the screen.
yeah,
Mike put spoiler on the screen.
So anyway, thanks for watching this week's episode of the Vaguely Anime Podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, follow. Check out Kat at Kat the Moonstar on Twitch. You have 2 weeks to watch Blue Lock. So get on it. Go watch them boys kick some balls. Real
Aggressively.
good. Yeah.
Real aggressive.
The most aggressive, one might say.
My God.
And just be so serious about soccer.
No warm fuzzy feelings here.
No, just soccer and only soccer. You don't soccer, you don't matter.
Yeah.
You don't soccer well, you don't matter.
If you're not a striker, you don't matter.
Yeah. If you don't soccer, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Only soccer. Anyway, see you guys next week for whatever the fuck we talk about. Actually,
It'll be Anime Club.
No.
Oh, I lied. It won't be Anime Club.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. You're right.
That's why I said you had 2 weeks to watch.
I know. It's just okay.
Anyway, see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.